Hello dancers, welcome back to BodyKinect by Kendall. My name is Kendall and today's video is going over how to master a pirouette. We're going to talk about alignment, technique, which muscles to use and when, and also go over some spotting techniques. So if this sounds good to you and you want more dance content like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's talk about the alignment and basic technique of a pirouette. So when you start in your pirouette prep, I want you to start with your feet together. We're going to slide one foot back behind you, and then we're going to bend both knees into a prep. Our arms are going to start in a first position. We're going to go back into a fourth position with the arms as we take this leg behind you. So let me show you from the side. Arms in first. Step back and plie. Arms go to fourth. Okay? In this position, I want you to make sure that you have a straight line from your head, shoulders, hips, down to that knee of the back leg. So we don't want to be prepping here or here. We want to make sure we're in a nice straight line. And this is so that when we come up into the pirouette position, we stay in that nice straight line versus if you start here in your prep, it's going to take more work for you to get back up to that alignment when you actually go to do your turn. Okay, so you're starting in first, taking one leg back. I'm demonstrating a parallel position of the legs. In a traditional ballet pirouette, you'd go turned out with both legs and then turned out with the passe. You can do either version of this. The technique is going to be very similar. So to start, let's practice in parallel, and then I'll also show you some turned out pirouettes as well. So we're in our prep position, our knees are bent. A lot of dance teachers will say to keep your weight 80% on the front leg, 20% on the back leg. Some teachers say 70-30 or 50-50. It really just depends on the teacher and their methods. But what I don't want you to do is to have all your weight on the back foot or all your weight on the front foot, okay? Because sometimes that happens with your chest. So find a nice comfortable position. As long as you have a straight line here and you have a little bit more weight on that front leg, don't worry too much about the percentages. We're gonna start with a balance first. So all you're gonna do is push through this back leg, come up to a passe position. So our toe is touching the inside of our knee, our leg is lifting up, and our arms come to first position for this pirouette. Okay, I'm still in this straight alignment with my body in that pirouette position. Okay, so try that a few times, starting with the prep, come up to balance. Again, prep, and balance. Down, and up. All right. Now, what I want you to do is add a releve with your standing leg. So when we're down here to start, we're going to push off this back leg still to come up to a passe, but we're also going to push down with this front leg to lift the heel up off of the floor. Okay. When we do that, that's going to help you stay lifted and also help you turn, because it's going to be a lot harder to turn with a flat foot than it is to turn on the ball of your foot. All right, so find that prep position, plie, 1, 2, 3, come up and balance, and then come back down. Good, again, coming up and down. Maybe your balance is 2 seconds today. Maybe you can balance for 10. That is great no matter what. We're just finding our alignment here. So as you go forward, I want you to lift from the top of your head. You're here, and you're gonna lift up and down. Did you see how much better my balance was that time when I was thinking about that lift through the top of my head? As if someone's pulling a string from the top of my head to lift up. All right, so I'm holding here, I'm going up, I'm lifting, and then I'm landing. You can land in a parallel position here. You can land out in the second position, or you can land back in that fourth position. I don't care what position you land in. I just want you to pick one, okay? So what I don't want you to do is to do your turn and then not know where you're putting your foot down, okay? No, we don't want that. We want to make it sharp. We want to make it clean. So choose what you want to do, either landing here in more of a sixth position, out to the side in second, or back in that fourth position, okay? We're going to add on this turn now. We're going to do a single turn. Let's try it. I'm also going to go over half turns with you today. So You're starting back in that prep position of the fourth. We're gonna come up to the passe position on balance, up on releve, but this time we're gonna take this outside arm and we're gonna bring it in to meet the other arm into a first position. As I do that, I'm gonna turn to the outside. So I'm starting in that fourth. This arm in the front is gonna open out. The other arm is coming in, okay? The arms are where we're getting this momentum for the single turn. So we're starting in that fourth position, parallel prep. We're coming up. Ooh, see, I didn't stick my landing that time. Let's try it again. Go down and up and land, all right? So that was a little too much momentum for me. If we're doing a single turn, you don't need a lot, okay? So you don't need to whack the arms around. You can just think of pulling them in nice and tight, okay? Some of the drills that we can do for turns include doing quarter turns, half turns, and full turns. So we're gonna go over that now. If you are just now learning a pirouette, I want you to practice finding that position, coming up to balance, and down. Once that feels nice and solid, then we can go from here to a quarter turn. We can practice just what it feels like to turn a little bit. Then eventually, we can do a half turn. It's hard to do a half turn, honestly. It's hard to stop. Half, and land, okay? It's hard to really stop there. If you try it with me now, you're gonna feel like you have too much momentum or too little. So it's a good exercise to test how much momentum you actually need for your turn. More often than not, we are using way too much momentum and we have to pull back a little bit. So from here, come up, half turn. That was more like a quarter turn for me. Down, up. There we go, that was better. And one more time, down, up. That was 3/4 for me that time. So you can do a quarter, you can do half, or you can do 3/4, okay? Those are all steps to help you get to your first single pirouette. If you can do a single nice and easy, here, up, and landing, then I want you to try going for a double. When we do a double turn, the only thing that changes is holding that position for a little bit longer, okay? We have to hold the same position and we have to spot 2 times. So we're holding here with that prep. My eyes are going to keep looking directly in front of me. So if you have something on the wall, like a clock or a picture frame, a TV, I want you to find that thing in the distance and I want you to stare at it as you're turning, okay? So if you're spotting like a tiny little thing on the wall, you're not going to have enough time to really focus on it. That's my #1 spotting tip, is make sure that your spot is big enough so you can really see what it is, okay? I'm going to look at that spot. Right now I'm spotting the camera and I'm going to turn. As I'm turning, I'm still going to look and then I'm going to flip my head, find the spot again, and then keep turning, flip, and come back in, okay? So as I'm doing that, this is a great spotting exercise to just find that spot every time, okay? Make sure you're doing it both directions as well, all right? Once you have that done, you can add the turn with it. Let's see if I can do my double turn now. I'm gonna hold here and I'm gonna go spot, spot, land, just like that. All right, so did you see how fast my head whipped around? That's what I want you to do as well. Last but not least, let's talk about the common mistakes of pirouettes that I see in a lot of dancers. One of the biggest ones is leaning with the torso, either leaning forward, backwards, or leaning side to side. And that makes them fall out of the turn. It feels like they can't complete the rotation because their body is falling, okay? Here's my trick. If that's happening to you, I want you to notice where you're falling. So if you're falling forward, like this, out of your turn, it probably means that your chest is forward like this, okay? The way to fix that is think of the opposite side of the body and engage those muscles more. So if I'm leaning forward like this, the opposite side of my body is on the back. So I'm gonna pull my back to bring me back to center. Same thing if I'm leaning over to the side like this, I'm leaning this way. I need the opposite side of my body to squeeze in order to bring me back up. Okay, that is one of the biggest mistakes I see. Another one is when you're in your prep, I see a lot of lifting the heel and then turning. And while you can do a solid turn like that, it's not proper technique, okay? So when you're here, I want you to think about pushing this back foot off first, then you lift up as you're turning, okay? It happens one after the other super quick, okay? The other thing I see, if you're doing a turned out pirouette for ballet technique, you start in that turned out position with your legs, and then this back leg is opening to a, see, falling out of it as I talk. That passe leg is opening out to a turned out passe. One thing I see a lot is dancers will start here and then they do a parallel passe. Okay. Generally speaking, if you are prepping in parallel, you're going to turn in parallel. If you're prepping turned out, you're going to turn turned out. Okay. So make sure that no matter what position you're in with your legs or your feet, that you're going to stay in that position the whole time. Okay. One last thing about those turned out pirouettes, if you are here, this knee is going to open to the side, but it's also going to press back behind you. So as I'm here, this back leg is going to go, boom, pressing back the whole time, okay? When you're doing that, we are squeezing these muscles in the back of the hip, your rotator muscles, and your glutes, okay? So we're squeezing all of that in. We're pressing our shoulders down no matter what position we are in with the arms or your turns, and we are engaging your core, okay? Those are the three muscle groups I want you to remember: back, core, and glutes, all right? If you found this video helpful and there's other styles of turns that you want me to go over with you, please feel free to leave a comment so I can add it to my list of videos to film for you guys. And as always, if this content was helpful, please subscribe and like the video. I would love it if you were able to ring the bell and be able to watch our videos whenever they drop. You'll get a little notification so you know we have a new video. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next one.